Welcome to my channel. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share for more amazing videos. Stay tuned for the latest and first updates. Let's get started. The 1 penny Elizabeth II coin of 1984 is part of the decimal coinage system of the United Kingdom, which was officially introduced in 1971 when Britain moved away from the old pre-decimal system of pounds, shillings, and pence. Under the decimal system, the penny became the smallest denomination, equal to 1/100th of a pound sterling. By 1984, the design of the penny had already become a familiar piece of everyday currency, widely circulated and recognized by people across the country. The coin represents not only monetary value but also a historical symbol of Britain's heritage, monarchy, and the continuity of Queen Elizabeth II's reign. On the obverse side front of the 1984 1 penny coin, you will find the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II. At this time, the second official portrait of the Queen was in use, created by the famous sculptor Arnold Machen. In this portrait, the Queen is shown wearing the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara, which was one of her most iconic royal jewels and a gift to her grandmother, Queen Mary. The portrait is elegant and youthful, symbolizing the monarch's stability and long service to the nation. Around the edge of the obverse side, the legend is inscribed as Elizabeth II d.G. Reg. F.D. 1984. This Latin inscription stands for Elizabeth II, Dei Gratia Regina, Fide Defensor, which translates into English as Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen, Defender of the Faith. These inscriptions highlight both the religious and constitutional roles of the Queen. The reverse side back of the coin features the iconic design of the portcullis with chains, which is a symbol closely associated with the Palace of Westminster and Parliament in London. This design was created by Christopher Ironside, one of the most notable coin designers in British history. The portcullis is a medieval-style gate, representing both security and authority, and has long been a heraldic emblem used by Parliament. Above the portcullis is the denomination, written clearly as 1 penny, and at the bottom of the design is the numeral 1, emphasizing its value as the smallest unit of British currency. This simple yet meaningful design connects the coin to the traditions of governance and the nation's democratic system. In terms of metal composition, the 1984 1 penny coin was struck in bronze, which consists of copper, tin, and zinc. The coin weighed about 3.56 grams, had a diameter of 20.32 millimeters, and a thickness of around 1.52 millimeters. The edges of the coin are smooth without any milling, giving it a clean appearance. These physical characteristics remained consistent for decades until a major change came later in 1992, when the composition of the penny was switched from bronze to copper-plated steel, as a cost-saving measure due to rising copper prices. Therefore, the 1984 version is still made from traditional bronze, which gives it a slightly warmer and richer color compared to later issues. The minting history of the 1984 penny is also interesting. The coin was mass-produced by the Royal Mint for circulation and was widely available across the United Kingdom. Millions of these coins were struck, which makes them quite common in everyday currency. However, coins from this era are still collected by numismatists, coin collectors, especially those in uncirculated or proof condition. The Royal Mint also issued proof sets for collectors, where the 1984 penny was included with a polished, mirror-like finish. These proof versions are more valuable to collectors compared to the normal circulation strikes. From a historical perspective, the 1984 1 penny coin represents Britain in the mid-1980s, during a period of social and political change. Margaret Thatcher was Prime Minister at the time, and the United Kingdom was undergoing significant economic and industrial reforms. The coin itself, though small in value, was a part of daily life for millions of citizens, used in shops, transport, and everyday transactions. Its presence in pockets and purses symbolized stability amidst a changing social and political landscape. In terms of collectability and value, the 1984 penny is not considered rare because of its high mintage numbers. In circulated condition, it usually holds only its face value of 1 penny. However, uncirculated and proof specimens, particularly those still sealed in original Royal Mint packaging, can fetch higher prices from collectors. The coin also carries sentimental and historical value for those who grew up in the 1980s, making it a nostalgic keepsake. Some collectors also value full-year sets, where the 1984 penny forms a crucial part of a complete decimal coinage collection. Another detail worth noting is the durability of the bronze material. Many 1984 pennies in circulation today still retain their original shine and details if preserved carefully, although coins that have been heavily used often show discoloration, wear on the Queen's portrait, and fading of the reverse design. For numismatists, condition grading is very important. Coins are generally graded from good to fine, very fine, extremely fine, and uncirculated. A 1984 penny in brilliant uncirculated or proof condition remains desirable for collectors. The cultural symbolism of the penny should not be overlooked either. Despite being the smallest denomination, it represents accessibility and equality. Every person, regardless of wealth, would have encountered and used pennies daily. They also served as a reminder of the monarchy's enduring image, as the Queen's profile was visible on every coin in circulation, reinforcing national identity and continuity. In conclusion, the 1 penny Elizabeth II coin of 1984 is more than just a piece of currency. It is a small but significant artifact of British history, combining artistry, heritage, and everyday life. Its design by Christopher Ironside and the portrait by Arnold Machen make it a beautiful example of mid-20th century coinage art. Though not rare, it carries both historical and cultural value, making it an important collectible for those interested in British coins, the reign of Elizabeth II, and the era of the 1980s. Whether found in circulation or preserved in a collection, the 1984 penny continues to tell the story of Britain's monetary history and the reign of its longest-serving monarch. The 1 penny Elizabeth II coin of 1982 holds a special place in the history of modern British coinage because it represents an important transitional period in the United Kingdom's monetary system. The coin belongs to the decimal series, which officially replaced the older pre-decimal system in 1971. Before decimalization, the British pound was divided into 20 shillings and 240 pence, but after the change, the pound was divided into 100 new pence. The 1982 penny was the 12th year of decimal penny production, and it introduced one of the most noticeable changes in modern British coinage, the replacement of the word, new penny, on the reverse design with simply, 1 penny. This alteration was made because the term, new, was no longer relevant after more than a decade of circulation under the decimal system. Collectors often see 1982 as a landmark year since it marks the first time the updated denomination appeared, making this penny especially significant in numismatic history. The coin was struck in bronze and weighs approximately 3.56 grams, with a diameter of 20.3 mm and a thickness of about 1.52 mm. Its edges are smooth, and its composition at the time was 97% copper, 2.5% zinc, and 0.5% tin, giving it a traditional bronze appearance with a reddish-brown tone. The obverse side of the coin features the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Arnold Machen, which had been in use since the introduction of decimal coins in 1971. The portrait shows the Queen wearing the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara, a gift she received as a wedding present from her grandmother, Queen Mary. Around the portrait, the Latin legend reads, Elizabeth II d.G. Reg. F.D., which is an abbreviation of Dei Gratia Regina Fidei Defensor, meaning, Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen, Defender of the Faith. Below this inscription is the date 1982, which identifies the year of issue. On the reverse side, designed by Christopher Ironside, the central image is the crowned portcullis, a historic symbol associated with the Palace of Westminster and Parliament. The portcullis is topped with a crown, symbolizing royal authority and the unity of monarchy with parliamentary democracy. Around the design, the inscription, 1 penny, appears for the first time in 1982, replacing the earlier, new penny. At the bottom, the denomination value, 1, is shown, clearly marking the coin's worth. This design has become one of the most iconic features of the penny and has remained in use for decades, making it highly recognizable across the world. In terms of mintage, the 1982 penny was produced in very large numbers for circulation, meaning it is not considered rare in ordinary conditions. Millions were struck by the Royal Mint, making it a common coin in circulation throughout the 1980s and beyond. However, the historical importance of this issue lies not in rarity but in the design change that set a precedent for future pennies. Collectors usually keep the 1982 penny as part of a complete decimal coin set, and while its face value is small, its numismatic value increases slightly if the coin is in uncirculated or proof condition. Proof versions were specially struck for collector sets, often showing sharper detail and a mirror-like finish. These proof coins are much more desirable than regular circulation strikes. By 1982, the penny was still being made in bronze, but a significant change would come later in 1992, when the Royal Mint switched the metal composition from bronze to copper-plated steel due to rising copper prices. This makes the 1982 bronze penny a representation of the original material used during the early decades of decimal coinage. For coin historians and collectors, it offers a glimpse into a time before economic factors forced changes in the makeup of everyday coins. Today, many circulated examples of the 1982 penny remain in drawers, jars, and coin collections, often overlooked because of their commonality. However, numismatists recognize the coin's symbolic importance as a turning point in modern British currency design. The value of the 1982 one-penny Elizabeth II coin generally depends on condition. Circulated coins are typically worth only their face value of 1 penny in the UK, or a small premium for collectors assembling a complete date set. Uncirculated or proof examples, however, can fetch higher prices, typically ranging from a few pounds to more depending on quality and demand. For collectors outside the UK, the coin may also carry more interest due to its connection with Queen Elizabeth II, one of the most widely recognized monarchs in world history. In conclusion, the 1982 Elizabeth II one-penny coin is far more than just a small denomination coin. It is a symbolic artifact of Britain's transition from new penny to one penny, a marker of changing times in the modern history of British coinage. While not rare in circulation, its role in the story of decimalization and its enduring design make it a must-have for coin enthusiasts. For anyone studying or collecting British coins, the 1982 penny remains a fascinating reminder of how even the smallest denominations can carry significant historical and cultural meaning. The one-penny Elizabeth coin 1976 is a historically important British coin that belongs to the era of decimalization in the United Kingdom. This coin was minted under the reign of Queen Elizabeth II, and it forms a part of the decimal coinage system which was officially introduced in 1971, replacing the old pounds, shillings, and pence system that had been in use for centuries. The 1976 one-penny coin is struck in bronze and has a weight of 3.56 grams, with a diameter of 20.32 mm and a thickness of around 1.52 mm. The composition was 97% copper, 2.5% zinc, and 0.5% tin, giving the coin its distinct reddish-brown tone which over time often darkens due to circulation and environmental exposure. On the obverse side of the coin, the design features a detailed portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, created by Arnold Machen, a renowned sculptor and designer. This portrait shows the Queen wearing the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara, one of the most famous pieces of royal jewelry. Surrounding the portrait are the Latin inscriptions, Elizabeth II DG Reg FD 1976, which translates to Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen, Defender of the Faith. This inscription highlights both her role as monarch and her position as the head of the Church of England. On the reverse side of the 1976 one-penny coin, the design showcases a symbolic depiction of the portcullis with chains, a traditional emblem often associated with British Parliament and Westminster. This design was created by Christopher Ironside, a distinguished British artist who was responsible for several decimal coin designs. The portcullis is topped with a royal crown, representing the strength and unity of the British monarchy and government system. Below the emblem is the denomination written simply as 1 penny, while the numeral 1 is placed to clearly indicate the coin's value. This design was chosen because it was neutral, symbolic, and strongly tied to British history, making it widely recognizable and respected. The edges of the coin are smooth, plain-edged without any milling, which is typical of lower denomination coins. From a historical perspective, the 1976 one-penny coin holds significance not only as currency but also as a collectible piece. It was issued in very large quantities for circulation, so it is not considered rare in ordinary condition. Millions of these coins were produced by the Royal Mint in the 1970s, ensuring that they were widely available for daily use across the country. However, uncirculated versions, proof sets, or coins in exceptionally good condition are valued by collectors. Over the years, these coins have gained nostalgic importance because they represent the early years of Britain's modern decimal coinage. For many people who lived through that transition, the penny of 1976 symbolizes a shift in British money, culture, and everyday life. In terms of value, most circulated examples of the 1976 one-penny coin still hold face value, meaning they are worth 1 penny. However, coins that are preserved in mint condition or proof quality can be worth more, especially to numismatists and hobby collectors. While not highly rare, their charm lies in their connection to the 1970s era, Queen Elizabeth II's long reign, and the beauty of their simple yet historic design. Collectors often appreciate the craftsmanship of Arnold Machin's portrait of the Queen, which remained on British coinage for many years, as well as Christopher Ironside's symbolic reverse artwork. Together, they form a timeless example of British numismatic heritage. The one-penny Elizabeth II coin of 1974 is a significant piece in the history of British coinage, representing the era of decimalisation in the United Kingdom. This coin belongs to the decimal penny series, which was introduced in 1971 when Britain officially shifted from the old pre-decimal system to the new decimal system. Before decimalisation, a penny was valued as 1/240th of a pound, but after 1971, the new decimal penny became 1/100th of a pound. The 1974 one-penny coin therefore is part of the first generation of decimal coins that helped modernise the British monetary system. On the obverse front side of the coin, it features the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Arnold Machin. This portrait of the young queen was introduced in 1968 and became one of the most widely recognized designs, appearing on all British decimal coins until 1984. The queen is shown wearing the "Girls of Great Britain and Ireland" tiara, and the inscription around the portrait reads, Elizabeth II DG Reg FD 1974, which stands for, Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen, Defender of the Faith. The lettering and portrait together emphasize the authority of the monarch and the official status of the coin. On the reverse back side of the coin, the design features a depiction of a portcullis with chains, a symbol that has long been associated with the British Parliament and the Palace of Westminster. The portcullis design was created by Christopher Ironside, a celebrated designer who produced many of the new decimal coin reverses. Above the portcullis is a crown, and around the design is the inscription, 1 penny. This simple yet powerful imagery reflects the traditions of British governance and the link between currency, monarchy, and state institutions. The edge of the coin is plain, without any inscription or reading. In terms of physical specifications, the 1974 one-penny coin was struck in bronze, an alloy consisting mainly of copper with smaller amounts of tin and zinc. It has a diameter of 20.3 mm, a thickness of 1.52 mm, and a weight of 3.56 grams. These dimensions made it a small but durable coin, easily recognizable and convenient for circulation. This penny remained in circulation for decades before being gradually replaced and later demonetized in 1992 when the Royal Mint introduced a smaller copper-plated steel version of the penny. Thus, the 1974 bronze penny belongs to the first phase of decimal pennies, which are often sought after by collectors because of their historical significance and their association with the early years of decimalization. From a mintage perspective, millions of one-penny coins were produced in 1974 by the Royal Mint, making it a common coin in everyday use at the time. While it is not considered rare in general circulation quality, examples in uncirculated or proof condition can hold higher numismatic value. Collectors often look for well-preserved coins that show sharp details of the Queen's portrait and the portcullis design. Over time, circulated examples tend to develop wear, scratches, or tarnish, which can lower their collector's value. However, as a historical piece, even circulated coins remain of interest to those studying British coinage. Historically, the 1974 one-penny coin represents more than just currency, it reflects a period of social and economic change in Britain. The early 1970s were marked by shifts in industry, politics, and culture, and the decimalization of the currency system was one of the most visible reforms that impacted every citizen. Coins like the 1974 penny helped the public adapt to the new decimal system, gradually replacing the old pounds, shillings, and pence system that had existed for centuries. For many people in Britain, these coins symbolized modernization and progress. In the world of coin collecting today, the 1974 one-penny coin holds historical and educational value. While it may not be rare or extremely valuable in monetary terms, it serves as a tangible connection to the decimalization era and to Queen Elizabeth II's long reign. Collectors may keep it as part of a complete set of decimal coins, or as an example of the work of Arnold Machen and Christopher Ironside, both of whom made lasting contributions to British numismatic design. Its bronze composition also gives it a distinctive feel and look compared to the later copper-plated steel issues. In conclusion, the 1974 Elizabeth II one-penny coin is a classic piece of decimal coinage that carries historical, cultural, and numismatic significance. It is valued not only for its design and symbolism but also for its role in representing the modern transformation of British currency. Although millions were minted, its importance lies in its story, the transition of a nation into a new era of coinage under the reign of Queen Elizabeth II. For historians, collectors, and enthusiasts, it remains a fascinating reminder of the decimal revolution and of the enduring gem legacy of British coin design.